You have a business model I find interesting. So you tell me about your business model quickly.
Essentially, we are engaged by organizations, companies, or advocacy groups to provide generative journalism or generative storytelling in their system. And that begins with always reaching out to the grassroots in an organization to discover through very open-ended questions or closed thematic questions to narrow the discussion. We look for a discovery. That's essentially what it is that we're trying to discover what is giving that community or that system life. Where is the energy?
Well, I'll say that again slowly. That's an amazing sentence.
I don't know if I can.
I can. And then you
Go
can.
for it.
and then you can. That you're looking for that theme or that story that has the capacity to give the system life.
Yes.
So your journalism is life-giving,
This is the idea.
life-creating.
This is the idea.
And
yeah.
you're helping me tell a story that otherwise I wouldn't tell with the energy and the humanity and the grassrootedness without you. Because that's very different than public relations. Most businesses and agencies tell their story to shed a good light on themselves.
Yes.
And that's different than a life-giving conversation.
Well, and what's curious about that is that these kinds of narratives and these stories can actually envelop or overwhelm what public relations does. Because if you're telling thousands of stories about what people are doing and where the life is in the system and how people are committed to what they're doing and to each other, you couldn't ask for better public relations.
It's for real.
It's for real.
This is transparency is the point instead of manipulation.
Absolutely.
You don't manage images. You help people's story come through authentically.
And what the crazy thing is that nothing bad ever happens. We published, I don't know, 15,000 stories in the last few years, and nothing bad has ever happened. Only the best of things happens. I think in all that time we've had to pull maybe 2 stories, and they were for very arcane reasons.
So this not only overcomes your isolation, because you're seeking to touch other people's souls, but it's a faithful venture, isn't it? That you're trusting that if people are evoked to tell the real story, that the world will be enriched by it.
Absolutely, and that's
In one of the most cynical professions of all, which is journalism.
and I guess you could ask whether or not we're in that business or not.
I think you're remaking journalism. Do you doubt that?
It's a possibility. We're remaking it from the perspective of what it is we want to create or accomplish in the world. If it has the if it has the effect of changing or shaping the way journalism works in general, that'll be a beautiful thing.
Well, that's why I'm interested.
Right.
Because right now journalism tells me who died last night.
Right.
You're not interested in that. How do you answer the notion that investigative is what journalism is really about? To call to account, truth to power, find out evil in the world and expose it.
I like the word investigative because I think that what we're doing is also incredibly investigative. Sometimes when you're on an interview and you're asking a really deep and provocative question, you can give pause to your source. So here's somebody that you care for, and this person is being asked a deeply personal question that they may not have the answer, but you need to investigate. They may not consciously have the answer, but you've got to dig around until you can actually uncover the answer. So if you want to be an investigative journalist, you can still do it one of two ways. You can either be looking for the things that are rotten in the world, or you can look for the things that are wonderful in the world. So to suggest that generative journalism isn't difficult or hard or real or investigative is silly.
Well, it is silly. And I think what you're doing, I think you're changing the narrative about what journalism can be. And I'm attracted to the fact that why wouldn't journalism be a healing agent in the community instead of feeding off the woundedness of the community?
Absolutely. I think healing as well is a thriving force, to give life and energy, to create something new. So to go even beyond the pain and to a fulfillment of gifts and of possibilities.
And so you've adopted an appreciative bias, haven't you?
Yes.
Say a little bit about that and then we'll be done.
It's, I think appreciative is first to notice and to see is the first step in appreciating something. The second piece is to grow the value of it, and I think that's what you can do by telling someone's story with them, is that we can bring the story to even greater potential because it's been told and it's been amplified. But I think another piece of it is for that to work really well, your questions and your inquiry have to be faithful and spiritually in the right place, and sometimes very intellectually disciplined and difficult.
It is difficult.